What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Elite Self Show. It is episode 14, and we are continuing with the Monday series we have going on. It's a nice and sustainable frequency for me, and I've been getting some feedback that this stuff is helping you guys, especially the shorter form stuff that you can digest on like a nice 20-minute drive, nice 10-minute drive type of thing, right? And I'm happy to keep doing this. And just as an update, I am probably going to be scratching the Elite Self Show YouTube channel and probably just putting everything on my personal YouTube channel just so it's more simple. Everything's in one spot. I don't see a downside to doing that, so probably going to go forward with that. So give my YouTube channel a little sub if you want to see the full episodes there, as well as all my other YouTube videos, because the podcast and the YouTube channel are going to kind of complement each other, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to combine the two, because I was having this like internal debate with like what type of content, what concepts do I put on the podcast versus my YouTube channel, and then there seems to be some overlap there, so I just decided to put it all in one place so I don't have to worry about covering certain things on both places and whatnot. So feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel is the punchline there. But without further ado, let's get into today's episode, guys. I'm going to be talking about one of the most effective time management philosophies / frameworks that I've stumbled across in recent history. And when you hear time management philosophy, you might start to fall asleep, but this is something that I think is extremely profound and can make a large difference in your life. It's made a very profound difference in my life, and my friends and my clients who have brought it to so far have also been impacted by it, and it's made immediate dividends in their life as well. And so I want to bring it to your guys' attention here. And this concept stemmed from me going through a very, very hard time. Over the last 4 months, I've been going through a very painful inner healing journey where I'm still gaining clarity on it, but ultimately I think I'm healing through very, very deep wounds, like inner child wounds, and really, really deep kind of childhood trauma and just some really painful stuff, quite frankly. And the last 4 months have just been absolute hell emotionally. And I think it's because, I suppressed emotion for 20 plus years, and then it all just started coming to the surface in very extreme waves, and it was very challenging to deal with. And I'm still going through it. It's been like 3-4 months now, and I'm getting very intentional about processing it. But the reason I bring this up was because during the first 1 month, the first 2 months of going through this very challenging emotional period, I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know how to handle it. I had no idea what planet I was on. I was just in pain. It's all I knew. It was excruciating. But I started to, gain a little bit of awareness throughout the process. And I realized that I needed to be much more intentional about how I spent my time during this process. And I'm going to relay this back to just everyday life and entrepreneurship as well. But I realized that wasting time during a process like this would not help me in any department. It wouldn't help me on the business side of things and continuing to move things forward. And it also wouldn't help me with my healing journey and developing myself and moving through this, right? And so I realized that, okay, I need to avoid wasting any time doing mindless stuff, and specifically things that would emotionally distract me from the process at hand. So for example, I'm going through all these crazy, difficult, torturous emotions for hours and days and weeks and months on end. And so it was a natural tendency of mine to scroll social media throughout my life, throughout the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Probably honestly since social media came out when I was in middle school, it's been my primary emotional distraction mechanism. And it is for most people. If we look at the average screen time of the average person with a cell phone, it's got to be up in the 3, 4, 5, 6 hour type of range per day. And mine certainly was. And going through this emotional time, my screen time was up there, guys. I'm not even going to lie. It was 5, 6, sometimes even 7 hours a day on that thing. Just as an emotional distraction mechanism, because I was going through such potent pain, and going on social media, going on Snapchat, going on the dating apps, going on Instagram, going on, TikTok or whatever else. As you guys know, it gives you an emotional distraction. It gives you a bit of dopamine, a little bit of serotonin. It can even hit on some of your emotional needs, like connection and certainty and significance. And so I was blatantly using that as a distraction mechanism through this. And circling back around, I'm like, look, I cannot spend time wasting this time. And I kind of constructed this framework in my head where I'm like, okay, I need to operate on either the black side of the spectrum or the white side of the spectrum, no, not the gray. Gray meaning wasted time. And I don't know why my mind went to this type of visual with a black, white, and gray, but that's just what it did. And it's been effective ever since. And so I kind of defined time in these buckets that really helped me manage my time, aka manage my pain. I read a really good quote in a book called Indistractible. I forget the author's name. I'm going to butcher it if I try, so I'm just going to link it down below with his name there. It's called Indistractible. One thing he says is that time management is really pain management. And I think this is true for the most part. I mean, the way we manage our time is highly determined by our inner emotional world. And a large part of our inner emotional world is the types of pain we experience, whether it's stress or overwhelm or anything else. These emotions tend to dictate our action, aka time management, right? And so this black, white, and gray spectrum helped me manage my time or manage my pain. And I said, you know what? I'm going through this incredibly challenging emotional time right now. And it's very hard to not distract myself, to not waste time. But I know that I'm doing myself a very blatant disservice by wasting time right now. Like I said, I'm not moving my business forward. I'm not moving my healing journey forward. I'm not moving anything in my life forward. I'm not moving my relationships forward. I'm not moving my fulfillment forward, my impact on the world forward. I'm not moving anything forward. In fact, it's probably moving some of those things back because I'm losing confidence in myself, because I'm distracting myself and wasting time, and it's just not a pretty picture. So I'm like, look, despite the fact that this is hard, you need to stop distracting yourself. Stop spending time in the gray time and go in black or white. And now the way I define black or white time was I defined black time as work time, as productivity time, as business time. And so this is anything involving my business and moving the needles forward. So this could be anything like business, like sales, marketing, content, team calls, client calls, sales calls, working on projects on the back end, anything finance related, skill building, learning from mentors, like anything in that department, anything that moves my business forward. My business being my one and only entity. On the professional side, you may have one or more things, but anything that's on the productivity side in that regard, right? Predominantly business. And the white side of the spectrum, I defined as any self-growth time or healing time. So this would include workouts, this would include meditation. I learned that one of the things that I had to do during my particular hard time was process emotion and simply feel emotion. And these days I'm doing a lot more intentional work around my inner child and really accepting the emotion and being there and trying to decipher what inner wounds are actually there and what are the emotional needs of my inner child, so I can be there for my inner child and fulfill those emotional needs sustainably instead of looking for external fixes to fulfill those emotional needs. So I sometimes do meditations for those, or I journal a lot as well. That's also white time. Could be walking on the beach, could be walking in the park, could be anything that's just healthy for you and good for you. It could be taking a nap, it could be reading a book. It's anything that just develops you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And for me, a lot of my white time was intentional activities to continue to process the emotion I was feeling and am feeling. And so this is kind of black or white time. And it's just simplifying that was just extremely useful for me. And social media was the main gray time activity that I had to overcome and gain awareness around. There were also other gray time activities that were not as, destructive as social media, but were still destructive, one of which was masturbation. And now this one has a lot of nuances because there's nothing right or wrong about masturbation. There's nothing right or wrong about scrolling on social media and any other gray time activity. For example, some people may use alcohol to distract themselves, or weed, or any other drug, or watching Netflix or watching YouTube. It could be a number of things, even like socializing endlessly to just continue to distract themselves. There's nothing right or wrong about any of those activities inherently, unless and until you're using them as consistent distraction mechanisms that take you away from white or black time. If they're constantly pulling you away, then yeah, you could label them as a bad thing, right? If you're using alcohol to make yourself feel better consistently, or if you're using social media or masturbation just to avoid those challenging emotions, then yeah, it becomes a bit of an issue. And for me, like I said, social media was my main one. Secondary one, masturbation. Another, YouTube and Netflix weren't really things I frequented in. So, but again, 90% of the equation for me was just wasted time on social media. And so now I kind of discovered this framework over the course of, a few weeks and a few months. And I encourage you to analyze, what is your great time? What are you wasting time doing? In what ways do you distract yourself? Food is a common one that I also forgot to mention, but there's plenty more. And so now I ask myself, especially as I'm continuing to go through this very, very challenging emotional period, I operate on a daily with the intention to spend most of my time either in the white or the black. And this is very helpful because let's say I get smacked with a challenging emotional wave, right? I get just slapped and pounded and I'm going through it. Before, all I would know is, wow, I feel like shit right now. I feel like I can't do anything. Like, this sucks. And that would kind of be my dialogue. But now I'm like, okay, like, I'm going through this. Which side of the spectrum am I going to gravitate towards in this particular instance? Is it going to be a black side of the spectrum, half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours right now? Or is it going to be a white side of the spectrum? Do I have it in me to do some work? Is it contextually a good move right now to just, implement standard over state to override the emotion and just get something done? Or would it be a better use of my time to go to the white side of the spectrum and do a meditation and to journal and to, make some tea and to just do some introspection and to breathe and to feel, right? And so now my days consist predominantly of white or black time. And no matter what the ratio is of white or black time, it's not a waste of a day. Like, some days, if I look at my calendar, the past few weeks, some days are like 90% white time, where I was going through it that day and there's not a chance I'm doing any kind of work. Now the things I never sacrifice because of this are client calls and team calls. I always show up for those no matter what, no matter how I'm feeling. But outside of that, I can just toss everything off my schedule if I need to, if I want to. And some days it's been like that. Some days, and there hasn't been many, but it's been primarily black time, where I feel like, I only need a little bit of time here and a little bit of time here to process and to feel, I feel like I have it in me today to get some work done. And more often than not, it's just a balance of each, where it's like 50-50, where I need to process for a few hours and work for a few hours and then just balance it. And this is how I'm operating while going through this intense emotional period. But this concept carries forward into any situation. And I was telling my brother about this, and my brother visited Summerland for 5 days, where I'm currently staying. And I realized that while my brother was here, black and white time is it's really important. But one thing my brother gave me the gift of was being a little bit more intentional about having fun, because black or white time, it's just work in different ways. Healing, it's a certain type of work. Productivity in your business is a certain type of work. I realized that the one thing I was really missing was having just really present moment fun. And this is a gift my brother got me just by being here. We were going to the beach and chilling together. We were playing tennis together. We played tennis every day while we were here. And I was telling him about this black and white time concept. And he thought it was pretty good. He thought it was pretty useful. But he's like, bro, you need like some purple time in this bitch. Meaning, have some fun, man. Your whole life, even during a little period like this, doesn't have to revolve around work and self-growth. Let loose, man. Smile, laugh, like do some fun stuff. And while my brother is here, he introduced me to purple time. And I'm not trying to say that this is the first time I've had fun in my life, but it's one of the first times I've had fun since I started going through this major emotional healing process. And so he added purple time onto the spectrum, where there's black time, there's gray time, there's white time, but now there's purple time as well. And the caveat to purple time is it's a healthy type of fun, because there's a thin line between purple time and gray time, as you might imagine, between having fun and being in the present moment and enjoying life and using something to distract yourself. Because purple time, in a way, having fun can be a distraction, but it's got to be a healthy type of distraction, right? And there's so many nuances and so many different areas that you can draw the line there. But I think at the end of the day, it's just a gut call. For me, playing tennis with my brother was purple time because it was fun, it was enjoyable, it was with my bro, it made me feel good, I laughed, I had fun, it brought out the competitive spirit in me. We were playing tennis. And so that's easily differentiable from a gray area activity for me, which is social media scrolling, where it's just a pure distraction mechanism, right? And you might have different things in different, sides of the spectrum there, but ultimately, in your heart what is purple time versus gray time. And I think that purple time has a very important place through my healing process that I'm going through now, but also, again, just in life in general. And bringing this full circle so you guys can apply it to your life, I came up with this. And by the way, I'm not trying to say that this is original to me. There are many people on planet Earth who have many different time management philosophies and have probably said the exact things that I'm saying in different ways. This is just the way that I have it structured in my mind now, and it's working for me. And just, I think the simplicity of it is just really effective. So you can use this exact framework if you want, or you can run with a different version of it, or if there's another version that you found that's been more effective. But think about how this would apply to you. So what is your black time? What is this business for you? Like, what needles are you going to try to move forward? What's important to you? What's meaningful for you? This would be your finances, profession, skill building, progression. And what are your current gray time activities, right? What do you typically distract yourself with? Is it food? Is it Netflix? Is it porn? Is it masturbation? Is it alcohol? Is it over socialization? You just always need to be around people. What is it for you, right? Is it social media scrolling? I'm sure it is to a certain extent if you're a human being in the 21st century. But take inventory of how you distract yourself, and it might be an emotional distraction of some kind. Okay, and then what is white time for you? So with your self-growth right now, like, is it working out? Like, what do you need to do in regards of your self-growth? What are your main focuses right now with your self-growth? Do you want to gain clarity? Do you want to gain your own emotional intelligence? Do you want to gain awareness? Do you want to gain... It could be really anything, to be honest. It could be the skill of delaying gratification. It could be developing courage. It could be literally 1,000 different things. It could be developing discipline or developing routines. There's so many things in that department. It could be developing your health or your energy. And there's many sub-initiatives that can be implemented to develop those things. But the point is, what is on the white side of your spectrum right now? And what should be on the white side of the spectrum, and what should be in the black side of the spectrum. For example, you might have an idea of what's important to you in the white and the black, but does your calendar reflect it? And that's what I want you guys to ask yourself is, does your calendar reflect what it should? Does your calendar have a lot of gray time in it, or unaccounted for time, right? And I think that the best, at least 98% of your schedule should be either black, white, or purple time. Because what else do you need in life? The gray time, it really doesn't serve you at all. And again, there's nuances here. I mean, you can slot off 15 minutes in your schedule. This is another thing that I recently listened to in Indistractible, the same book that I mentioned. You can slot off 15 minutes in your schedule to scroll social media, as long as it's an intentional thing, where maybe that would now be categorized in purple time because there's an intention behind it. You're just letting loose. It's an intention. You're not just unconsciously scrolling to distract yourself. It's an intention. It's there. It's meant for fun and the enjoyment that it brings. It's not the frequent distraction mechanism throughout the day. And so, like I said, there's so many nuances between gray and purple time. But again, you have to make those gut calls. But I think that the goal here is to have 98, 99, even 100%. You know, we're human beings. It's hard to be perfect, but to strive for 100% of your calendar being either black, white, or purple time. And keep in mind, you guys are thinking, oh, you know, but do I want 100% of my calendar to be so structured and to this and to that? You can have 3 hours blocked off in your calendar just to chill. And you could chalk that under white time, or you can chalk it under purple time. So this concept, it doesn't mean that you're always doing something and you're always, you know, on the go. The beauty of this concept is you can slot off 3 hours in your day to chill if you want to, and you can classify it purple or white or whatever. But the point is that there's an intention behind it. You're not wasting time. You have intention behind what you're spending each hour doing, whether it's black, white, or purple. Because there's really no point in even a second of gray time, even a second of distraction. And again, we're human beings in the 21st century. It's hard to get ourselves to that point. But I think it should be the objective to get ourselves to that point where we have the majority of our time in black, white, or purple. This is certainly my current objective. And my calendar reflects the differences. I mean, my average screen time has gone from 5 hours to 2 hours per day, and it can still get lower than that. And besides that, it's just black or white time. And the colors are different in my calendar because I categorize things differently there. But I was telling my buddy about this, JD about this the other day, and he's like, I'm gonna make my calendar color coded to black, gray, white, and purple, just to fully embody this concept so I can really take inventory of how I'm spending my time. And I thought that was a great idea. And so you can do that if you like, or you can kind of take the system and apply it to your life in whatever way you think would be most useful. But this has just been so helpful for me. I can ask myself easily intraday, am I in black, white, or purple right now? If I'm in gray, I immediately get into one of the other intentional ends of the spectrum. Do I want to go have fun right now? Do I want to do something productive with my self-growth or my healing right now? Do I want to do something with business right now? Again, the gray time doesn't serve you at all in any way. And so the power of this concept is you can just catch yourself, okay, black, white, or purple, which one? Okay, white. Okay, what within white should I do right now? Meditate? Okay, got it. Or workout? Got it. Let's go. Go for a walk? Got it. Chill for a little bit without devices? Got it. Boom. And then it just gives you so much quick awareness and ability to start managing your time better. And again, different chapters, different days, different weeks, different months, different years of your life will have different ratios of black, white, or purple, depending on what season of you're in, depending on what's important to you. Certain family things could fit under purple. Many different things could fit under the three sides of the spectrum there. But that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to bring that attention to your awareness. Again, it's been super useful for me, super useful for the people that I've brought it to. And I hope that it appears to be useful for you as well. Because I think it can really help. So I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there for today. Definitely let me know if you guys have any questions about this concept. And you can comment on the video if you have any questions, or feel free to comment also if you have applied this to your life in some way and kind of what the biggest impact of it was. Whether it was reduction in gray time, or maybe doubling down on the white time helped you develop as a person, or whatever your takeaway was, whatever the benefit was. I would love to hear about it. One of my favorite things on planet Earth is hearing about how the things that I've said have helped you. It fulfills me a lot. So there's a few of you, a few needles in the haystack that apply the things that I'm saying and reap a lot of really meaningful benefits from it. So if you're one of those people, please let me know in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a comment on a YouTube video or a DM. Love to hear from you. And reach out to me via Instagram as well if you have any future topic suggestions or anything of this nature. I also post a bunch more content on Instagram. So going forward, YouTube, Instagram will be the primary two spots. If you like the podcast on audio, then that will be the third spot, essentially, you could call it. But like I said at the beginning, the podcast is now going to be on YouTube also. So that's that. Thank you guys for listening. If you're here until the end, again, I appreciate your time. I hope this was useful for you, and I will see you next Monday. Peace out.